welcome, Goofy Geekers.
Hi, friends.
Is the volume down on that? I forgot to even.
I mean, you can't hear it, can you?
Nope. So I guess we're doing good. Do you not know us? Because always something
I don't think
goes.
the volume's ever on that.
You know what? Until the day it goes off. That's the way.
All right.
How was your weekend?
I surprisingly remembered my whole weekend.
It was that good, huh? Or that bad?
Well, we celebrate St. Patrick's Day in
Yep.
Newport, and
Even though today's St. Patrick's Day.
yes, when we're recording, it is. But yeah, we went to the bar and I drank a lot, and then I went home. And the next day, I did not have a hangover. Did you see that I entered your live for half a second? I couldn't hear anything that you were.
Oh, I saw you, and
Yeah.
I acknowledged you, and I had a few things to say, but
I couldn't hear anything.
that's all right because it probably was.
Not good, anyway.
No, you know what the problem is? A lot of people always ask me, "Oh, that was funny with the whatever," and I'm
Yeah.
always like, "I don't remember." And they're
Yeah.
like, "How do you not remember?" And I'm like, "Because when I do a live, it's all about the live. Like, I'm here for the moment. I'm reading
Yeah.
the stuff that people, and it's about the here and now. Like, when I do the boutique, which I dressed up like Grumpy Cat. I don't know if you caught on to that. It was Grumpy Cat. That's what I was supposed to be. Because I was pajamas.
I was literally I only looked at it for a few minutes.
Yeah,
They
you
put
had
it-
goggles
they-
eyes. You were like, that's my Uncle Niles.
Well, the funny thing is, we got to the bar, right?
Right.
And there's a TV there, and I said to John, like, "Can I stream my phone? Because Niles is on tonight."
I'm going to be at a bar. You're going to hook me up at a bar.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
He told me no because it wasn't smart TV. I was like, "Damn it!"
Oh,
He's like, "Do you have an HDMI card?"
If it was, you
I
were going.
I would have hijacked it.
Um,
I would have gotten kicked out for you.
Thanks, bestie. I don't know how that's a thank you, but thank you. No, but a lot of people will be like, "Oh, I don't know. It's all about being at the moment, at the time." I feel like there's so much stuff going on. Well, you've done our pop-ups twice with me now. There's so much going on. There's people talking. There's things going on, and
I don't remember our podcast half the time until I go and edit. I'm like, "Oh yeah, that did happen."
I can't watch it. I've never watched anything. I'm like,
No, I kind of have to.
I know you have to because you edit it, and I'm not, and you're like my hero on that because I can't. As soon as I hear myself, I'm like, oh, now I know I was in the special needs class. But no, I don't usually remember. I usually have a lot of fun, and the funny thing is, I don't drink. Like I usually just have juice or something in there. Or I'll joke about being drunk, but I'm not.
Yeah.
It just kind of happens. But
You're
I don't
drunk
know.
on life.
It does because I feel like things kind of fly by me and stuff. And of course, I'm so glad you weren't there because we had a taco bow. We actually had a taco bow, and when I had to explain it,
Think the green eggs and ham go back in.
yes, it was.
Was it one after another? Because
It was really bad because I was like, "Oh, look, there's meat inside the taco," and I was like, "Oh," and I was like, "Oh, there's cheese too." Oh no, that's not even any better. Like, I was like, it's full, it's packed. No, then I'm like, it's a taco bowl. It was great.
Did you have any lesbos in there?
No lesbos. I
No
was waiting,
lesbos.
and that's the big joke. The next time that we have lesbos,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's fun. We laugh. We joke. It's entertaining. I love to do it. I feel like people enjoy it with me, but who knows?
I have a good time. Well, you don't have to explain. You just explain.
Yeah, that's true. And the worst thing is, the more I wanted to not explain it, the more I had to keep explaining. Like it's
Right.
just like it was one of those like
You're on the train. You gotta keep riding the
yeah,
train.
like
yeah.
you know it's like, oh, this is bad.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I have this thing about me where I try to always. I've been told I'm really good of acting like I don't know what I'm saying, but I know exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what?
Yeah.
What? That?
I was so innocent.
I know. What are you talking about? And then it's someone else says, oh, what you people? What are you thinking? You know,
Yeah.
like I'm not thinking that way.
Right.
My young virgin ears. Okay, so I'm not young. You know, like So I watched this movie, Turning Red.
That's what we're talking about, guys.
That is our topic for today, is Turning Red. So right now, just in case, there are spoilers. So if you haven't seen it and you want to watch it, you can leave right now, which I'm expecting all the numbers to go down to 1 because this is you.
Right. Or if you don't want to watch the movie, here it is.
Yeah, if you don't want to watch the movie, which I'm going to tell you right now, you should watch this movie.
Yeah, it was cute.
All right. So here's the trick here. You're starting first.
Yeah.
Because every time I start first, you go, oh, yeah, I don't want to say my idea now. So you're talking first.
So I'm going to say things about the movie that, like, I don't like.
Okay.
Or something about Pixar, I should say. So Pixar, like, their new animation movies, or, like, something I've been picking up on is, like, the main character is, like, this overly excited person no matter what the movie is. Have you noticed that?
Oh, yeah. They're a little high-strung.
Yeah, they're just, like, very... Whereas, like... It reminded me of another movie, but I still can't think of what the movie was.
I know exactly. It's Luca. Because that little girl reminded me of the... not the one that was... I forgot their names, but the one that's outside the water that doesn't have the father.
Roberto?
Yeah, like he was so...
Oh, no. Yeah.
Yeah, he was so strong on life.
Yeah.
Like so happy, but he wasn't. He was hiding it. But he was like, "Whoa, let's go do that. Let's go." You know, like.
Yeah, but I didn't really watch that movie, so like I
okay, maybe it was somebody else.
I really don't remember what it is, but anyways, so like, I think like even like Kelsey watched it with me the second time. Like I watched it like 1.5 times, by the way, because like by this
first time was to watch it. Second time is to embrace it.
Yeah.
Or absorb it.
Right. And so even Kelsey was like, this character is a lot already.
Right.
Like it was very overwhelming or whatever, which there are people in the world like that, so it is what it is, you know. Anyway, so I lost my train of thought.
That's okay. All right, we're talking about the characters.
Yeah.
We're talking about the main character.
But now I'm going to go like towards the storyline. Okay. So I try to think, I told you this before, but I'll tell them, but I try to go into this movie. I had no idea what this movie was about.
Okay.
I try to go into it thinking like you would, and also like psychologically.
Okay. Wow, we're getting deep here. Hang on.
Yeah.
Hang on to your panda hats.
So I see like the whole. We'll go psychology first.
Okay.
So like the panda is like, I can almost see like bipolar or, like something along those lines where it's like you like you're one person one way and then or like even multiple personalities.
Okay.
I can see it like one person like you're one way, like one. So when she's like herself or whatever, that's like when she's like she can be free, whatever. Right. But when she's a panda, it's like her, not her alter ego, but like it's her other side that like she tries to hide and keeps like pushing down more and more, and then like she can't control it.
Right.
I do love the fact that her friends were her. Oh my god.
I was not even talking about this. Oh no. Okay.
Were her like safe keep, like what brought her back down or whatever.
Right.
I'm like, wow, like you don't really like think about it like day to day, but like my friends keep me grounded. Like I keep my friends grounded and stuff like that, and like that's like my favorite part of the whole movie, like the message behind that part. Okay. And then I love how they talked about periods in the movie.
Yeah.
And like I watched the scene, or I told Kelsey, I'm like, pay attention to the scene because this scene is so funny because I watched it without her the first time.
Right.
And she was like, okay, so like we watched it. I'm like, isn't that like what every parent like? That like that stereotypical like your parent like, oh my god, she's starting her period and like you know whatever. And she was like, yeah, and I love how they like talked about it, and that's controversial. Like why? Like, I love that they added that in there because that's just a part of life. Right, I agree. And then we'll talk about the, so like how she always wants approval from her mom, and like her mom was brought up that way and stuff like that. Like everything had to be perfect because she didn't want to disappoint the family. You got to honor your family and everything. I love how like that was kind of, it's okay to like let go and not everything has to be perfect. Mm-hmm. Because in the long run, like you find that out eventually in life.
Mm-hmm. Amen to that. Amen.
And like I didn't really, like my parents weren't really that way, but I know a lot of parents were like, you know, you have to be
right
home by this time, like you're 5 seconds late, you know, what are you doing, where are you, what, like who are you with, right. like my parents were like that, but it wasn't like to the extreme, like, and they didn't tell me who I could be friends with, they didn't tell me like what activities I need to do, like they let me have the freedom that way. But I know a lot of people who like they have to be that way. But it also, like, it stems down from her mom too, and like because the whole like she was trying to protect.
We are in China.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
We're not.
No, but we are. Excuse me. We're Chinese descendants.
Yes.
That's what I'm meant to say. Yeah. Sorry.
I was gonna say they're in Canada.
No, I know. I know. Because they're wearing Canada everything. I know.
I love how it was in 2002 though. Like,
yeah, I was going to say that too. I was waiting for you to say that. I love that. And
when they started, I'm like,
you understand why?
No,
you didn't know. I'll tell you. Go ahead.
Like I can probably guess why.
Okay, go ahead. Guess. You're like,
I don't want to be wrong.
What do you think? Do you think I know? You think I'm Pixar? You think I know this stuff? I've watched the movie once, so this is me telling what I think about once. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. I'm just going my opinion about it. So you're going your opinion.
I just think because I'm not going to say why.
Okay, move along. It's okay to be wrong, you know. It's okay.
I know. But like I also like can't really put it into words why.
Okay.
But yeah, that's kind of like.
That's it.
Oh well, there's. Go ahead. I'm sure there's more, but I can't think of anything right now.
I'll tell you mine, and I know you jump in.
I'll jump in.
Know. So I'll start off right away. I love the fact that it's Canada. Mm-hmm. The why I like it as well as Canada, because they were Chinese descendants, so it kind of took away from them being in, if you will, Little China or some place that I think we all get tired of seeing. If we see someone that's Chinese, where do we always see them? They're always like in whatever state, Little China or Little Chinatown or stuff like that. And I love the fact that they didn't go that way. It was a normal girl in a normal town that had like ancestors that came over, whatever, and then made this shrine. Yeah. It's 2002 for the most obvious reason. There are no picture phones or social media quite yet in 2002. So that means you can I had to keep
reminding myself
you could do whatever you wanted and no one would know it.
Yeah.
So, for example, a giant panda could rip through the thing, and you would say, hey, a giant panda was just here, but it doesn't mean there was cameras on you.
Yeah.
Even though my flip phone can take pictures, but it's still...
So, I forgot it was 2002, and they like came in with like the flip phones. I'm like, what the hell? Like, why? Like, right. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's 2002. Like, we got to like go back into that. They still had cameras, though.
Yeah, but it's not like it's not like it is now. It's not like this. There's no... proper Facebook there was Facebook, but there wasn't to what we have now. Or
they weren't.
Like, they don't have all this. They don't have. This isn't a thing. All this stuff that we have right here.
Yeah.
I love that fact. Okay, so I love the fact when she does think she has a period, because I have a daughter, and when she went through that, I did the same thing. Like, we ran around with a head chopped off, like. Okay, and I know, being a dad at the time, and her and me were kind of together. Like, it was, it was us involved. I had to kind of do that whole act like it's no big deal. We're gonna get through this. Like, I'm gonna ask a woman. I'm gonna find out things, and I'm gonna talk to her. Like, we're gonna learn this together. Even though I had more of a clue than she did, but and I acted like hey, this happens to everybody, and you're no different, and you know what, it's a way of life, and that's awesome. You know, like, just shows me that you're growing up faster. So I took it as a positive thing.
Yeah.
And tried to explain that just because you have this doesn't mean the world ends, and there's things to get around this and things you have to push through, and it sucks, and it's part of being that. But if you're a boy, you would have these problems and these things, and you know, like, it just, I try to look at each thing as its own problem, if that makes sense. I tried to respect both sides as being a boy myself, you know. I love the fact it was 2002 for the fact that I don't think she could, her attitude wouldn't have been the same as it would have been if it was now.
Yeah.
Her attitude was more in my era of time of being young and breaking through and being like, I'm going out with my friends and going to a concert. We're going to the, nowadays...
I just thought about, like, what my parents would say.
And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but there are way more, I don't want to say overprotective, because that is not right. It's just a different type of parenting.
Yeah.
Than,
like, we're more, like, close-knit.
Right.
Like,
there's no more, you don't, I mean, you see kids riding bikes, but not like you used to.
Right.
You don't see kids walking down streets. You don't see kids being kids in the summertime walking up and down the road 1,000 times because they have nothing else better to do except to walk to here or there or this or go to the store or come back. And there's some neighborhoods that still do it, and there's some parts of the world that's like, you know, the boogeyman's around the corner. And whatever your reasoning is, I respect it, because again, I'll say this, and I'll say this until the day I die. They do not give us handbooks how to be parents. We just try to do what we think is best. Speaking of that, now we go to the mother. I like the fact that... So I looked at the panda and different thoughts of this. I look at this situation as when you're a parent and something you've done in your life has given you problems or stereotype or, I don't know, whatever. It's like a stigma that connects to you. What do you think we don't want?
You don't want it for your kids.
We don't want it for our kids.
Right.
So automatically her attitude is, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me is this panda. My mom has put away this panda. She made all my sisters put away this panda. I cut my mom's eye with my panda. So this panda's a bad thing. Now, if you've been told your whole life this is bad, what do you want for your kid?
Yeah, you don't want.
You don't want the panda.
Right. And I'm not going to tell my kid about it.
And I'm not going to, like, tell my kid about it, because this is the most horrific thing. I think, like, having, and I'm not, and this is tongue-in-cheek here, but having a period compared to turning into a giant panda that you think is the most horrific thing in the world. Right. But I know what they get at of what the problem is that her panda comes out with strong emotions, which means she's 13. When you're 13, boy or girl, you are pumping through hormones like crazy. Right. So you are pure emotions. Like, it doesn't matter what sex you are are going through emotions, and whatever it is, it doesn't have to be sexual, it could be other stuff. It's just you're just pumping through it. I also look at, a lot of people got like, well, you know, this woman's so hard and she's trying to please her mom. Listen, I have a question for all you guys, and I'm being dead serious, and I have a question for you, Jess. Now I know your parents, so this is always hard, but
you don't want to disappoint them.
No, but here's the trick. Now, no, take off your shoes for a second. Okay? Take off your shoes. Your parents, they've made whatever mistakes they have in their life, because we all make them. So I'm just using, sorry, Gary, sorry, Jane. You know, whatever mistakes. What do we don't want for our kids?
The same ones.
The same mistakes. So what do we try to do? We try to mold them, direct them, sometimes we don't talk to them, but we just, oh no, you don't want to do that. You don't want to hang out with that guy. You don't want to meet these people. Why? Oh, well, but they're troublemakers. And they probably sit back and like, I know that person because we had one of those in our group and he got busted for A, B, and C, or he did this, or she did that. And not that we all have bad friends, but we've all have that one friend who makes the wrong decision too much. And then you're like, oh, not that guy. I love the fact that the mother sees a bigger picture. The hardest thing for us to do, and I stress this because I stress this with my daughter with my whole heart, is that middle school is the hardest time for a mother, father, boy, or girl. Reason why is you're not a baby anymore, but you're not an adult anymore.
Yeah.
So you want the freedom as an adult, but you're not old enough quite yet.
Yeah.
And now looking back, you're 22, right? 23. Do you think as an 8th grader, or a 7th grader or a 6th grader, you were as grown up as you thought you were? But at that age, you're like, hey, I'm not in elementary school anymore.
Right.
I'm developing. I'm a woman now, but you're not quite a woman now, or a man. You're not quite there yet.
Yeah. Not
that you're not on the path, but what happens is it's an awkward time because our little babies are growing up, which everybody hates. But we, for some reason, and I again not picking on any type of parent, is that sometimes we forget that we're supposed to teach our children to go on. This is a lesson that both of them are learning.
Yeah.
And actually, the whole family learns. And that's what, when you talked about the friends coming in, totally made me cry. Because, and I know I'm a crier, I know, make fun of me all you want. But I cried for the fact that, like, how amazing was this outcast in her mind having 3 best friends that were like, it was shoot or die. Like, they were all in it together. They didn't care what she looked like.
Yeah.
They didn't care what was going on. And then she was like, okay, let's make this work. And they're like, okay, don't use this power. And she's like, well, like every middle schooler, what are you talking about? I can use fire. Right. And then the house burns up. And you're like, what are you doing? And you're like, well, I didn't expect it to... Because you think you're grown up, but you're not quite there. And this is where I kind of blame the mom by not preparing her. And then but when do you? When is right? Because this is the trick I always have. So I love parents that says, well, and I know a lot of people are going to judge either way, and I'm not judging, but I've have people that I've known. Well, I have one friend. Oh, my kid's a baby. I breastfeed, so it's just easier. They sleep with me for the night. Oh, they're 4. It's easier to just sleep with me. They're 4. They're just little kids. Now they're 5. Oh, it's just easier if they slept with me. Well, now they're 7. Well, they really should go, but they're only 7. They're not old enough. Like, you know what I mean? You can keep saying that. Just keep going. Yeah. They're 25. They're still sleeping in my bed. Like, it's like you can throw that out as many times as you want. I mean, we can laugh and joke about it, or it's like, wow, 25. But it's the same trick. I mean, it's the same trick. There always has to be, when is your baby not your baby anymore? Right. Because there's some moms out there, you can be 50 and they still look at you as their babies. Like, you'll always be my son. You'll always be my daughter. You'll always be, that little kid. Right. For me, I love the fact that they came together. I understand where she was coming from because she embraced her difference. Now, again, I'm going to use this like you did, because you came up with a brilliant thought pattern behind this, of it being like bipolar. I thought of it like being... Actually, went through my head like being gay. And then I thought to myself, like, I don't think of it being alter egos of it. I just thinking it's embracing it. Yeah. This is the hand I got dealt. This is what it is. And then I talked to my dad. I had a real good talk with him today, and he said we had talked about being gay, and he said to me, he's like, I never had a problem if you were gay. I had a problem with how the world was going to look at you for being gay. Mm-hmm. I would have braced you anything you would have been, but I think what you would have to fight through to be, and now mind you, this is my time, so
right. I was just about to piggyback on that. Like in 2002, like it was harder for people to accept.
Even go further back. Yeah, exactly. If you go back to my age and let's say I woke up at 12 or 13 and said, this is where I want to be. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying the panda's gay. I'm not trying to throw that, but it's the embracing of it. Mm-hmm. And see, the mother looks at it.
And she said that she wanted to be herself from the beginning. Like, this is how I dress. I have a little Tamagotchi.
Right. This is me.
This is
me wearing a propeller hat and getting beaten up for wearing a propeller hat in the beginning. This is me being made fun of because I'm wearing suspenders. This is, and I'm just using me because I was a different kid. Yeah. And my dad was the king of, Niles, please don't wear this. You're going to get beat up. Please, Niles, don't do this. My mom would be like, oh, please, Niles. Yeah. And then I'd come home and I'd be crying, or if I was a little bit older, I'd be a little mad because I was determined. Right. I was determined to do it my way, and I didn't care. Mm-hmm. Just like I always gave the props to Brian when he wore the high heels that day. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like, hey, he's being him. This is what he likes. Screw the rest of you. You don't like it. It's your problem. Now, as the boss always says, it's a you problem, not a me problem. Like, and I just think, and I'm not trying, and I know a lot of people saying, are you saying the panda's gay? Are you trying to? No, I'm trying to say if you're being different.
Right.
She's embraced herself as her, and then she embraces the panda.
Right.
Where the mother, I believe, and I'm not trying to say I know this whole movie, but I felt the grandmother also was brought up with, this is a horrible thing. This is the worst. It's a curse, not a blessing. Mm-hmm. At one time, it was a blessing.
It's what we needed, yeah.
But now, because think about it. Everyone stop and think about it. Let's go back to 1930. Do you think a giant panda could walk down, like a gay person could walk down the street? A person with a funny hat? A person that dressed oddly? No, they would be shunned and shamed. Mm-hmm. I mean, let's just even go back to the 1940s to 50s. You got divorced, you were considered like a failure in this world, like man and females. Like you got divorced. I know I was listening to things that the people got divorced and the pressure was so bad they got remarried just so their children wouldn't have that abuse.
Really?
Yes, actually, another documentary on Eva Braun, which is Hitler's wife eventually, but they had to get back married again because both their 3 daughters were being harassed so much from coming from a divorced family. No, I'm just saying.
No,
like it's a stigma that comes around us, and you know what? As much as we all don't want those things on us, that's how it is. And I know it's like, well, 2022. Yeah, it's still there. I know friends who look at me and think I'm a lazy bum. I joke and laugh. I don't take anything seriously. And only a few people know what really has gone on in my life and can be like, well, no, he's really not that way. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a funny guy. He laughs and jokes, but he's gone through some tough times.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like, we have this on us. We do this all the time. And there's no matter how much you fight it. And it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how you do it. If you run with the bad crowd, guess what you are?
You're a bad crowd.
You're a bad person because you run with a bad crowd. Well, my mom used to say this. If you get caught in a car with everyone drinking, what do you think the police officers are going to think?
You're drinking. Mm-hmm.
Even if you're not drinking.
Yep.
If they have drugs in the car, what are they all? Did you hear this speech when you were little? If they all have drugs, this was like a normal speech from like when I was a kid. I hope you're not doing this. I hope you're not hanging around with this guy. I hope you're not doing this. I hope you're not doing that. And it was like, well, yeah, we all have that bad friend. We always have that one friend that nudges us to do something a little extra stupid.
Right.
Because then life would be boring if we didn't have that friend. Because the real smart ones go, nah, that's stupid. I'm not doing that. Mm-hmm. And then you have the dumb one go, ah! And you go, yeah, that one's dying. And but it's a stigma. And I feel their generation I should say they're multi-generation up to. Well, I forgot the little girl's name. Oh no, Mei is that her? That this is a curse. This is the worst thing.
Well, she said there's a cure for it.
Yeah.
So like that's like
right, like we just talked about bipolar, by depression. Like,
so you're
you're one of those people. Right. Oh, like you're always sad. And I have a very strong bipolar friend on Facebook, and I see his struggle constantly.
Yeah.
This guy, he walks in the clouds. He has gone to more Comic-Cons. He has pictures. I am so jealous of him. But when he hits his down, his life, it's like I just want to grab him and just say, "What are you? Look at this! Look at that! You've done this! You've done that!" Yeah. Like, but they don't see it because it's the chemicals in their body, and it's not their fault. And yet, you're trying to be supportive. You're trying to do the right thing. You're trying to say the right thing. You do the right thing. You're there for them. You know. And then what the worst thing is, the little bit of hate, a little or criticism. It's done. Mm-hmm. It's done, and it's tough. It breaks your heart to see it.
Yeah.
But for her, it doesn't become negative. She becomes positive. But you know what? I don't like the only thing I disagreed with you was she didn't become different. She woke up that morning saying, "I'm going to be the most different girl there is. I'm going to dress the way I want. I'm 13. I have my overall. I have my, shoes. I got this. I got that. I wear this. I'm styling. I have my crew." And by the way, I just love the really monotone girl. Like, "Hello, my name's hi."
Wow, that's so exciting.
Yeah. So I love that one because I feel like we all had that one friend. You're like, "Dude, we just did this. What are you doing?"
Right.
Yeah, this is great. Mm-hmm. I love that they loved the boy band. I love the fact.
Oh my God, their song sounds so familiar.
It was Billie Eilish and somebody else, and I forgot their name. It was a gentleman, and I don't remember his name.
No, but it sounded like a different song. And
it's probably every boy song every boy group put together. But I love.
I love the part where it's like, why is it called Four Town when there's
five
of them?
I know.
I didn't realize that until she said that. I'm like, oh my God, there is five of them.
The other one left the band and came back. So, I don't know. It's one of those things where I don't feel the panda breaks through and makes her popular, but it makes her embrace it. It almost like it heightens the attitude she already has. Is that I'm taking on the world, and then the panda lands up making opportunities bigger.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, when she goes to the bathroom and she's the panda and then she meets that little girl, it's like, "Oh my," and she's like, "Girl," and then, like, you can't hear because her paw is over her face and she's just...
I don't Kelsey watch this part. It's hilarious.
And the part that I think is the amazing part that I think a lot of people don't see is she's not bullied. Mm-hmm. If anything, it became the difference of, "Oh my God, I want to take pictures with you. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, I want you." I love the fact the bully lands up being their friend at the end. Like, he has the four town all over it. He's like, "What? I'm only here because of, like." I love the fact that nobody see. That's the part that there's all these controversies. I'm like, how is it controversy? Because maybe the mom doesn't get it because in her day it was a bad thing. Mm-hmm. Just like okay, be honest. Okay, I'm divorced. When you got married, do you think anybody in the crowd, anyone who loves you that's in the even wants you to have that happen? Mm-mm. No. But if it does, do you think you'll be rocked and stoned and thrown out to? No. It'd be like, "I'm really sorry, sweetie.
Yeah.
Hopefully, things will get better," type of thing. But not our parents, or like not my parents, like if you go further back, it'd be like, "Oh my God, I hope you never."
Right. Don't get divorced.
Oh my gosh.
That's
or
a sin.
Get pregnant.
Oh my God.
Well, I got a great story. And
it's about my parents.
No, it's about my parent, actually.
Yeah.
So my mom, a quick story. My mom in 1971 decided to she decided to go out for lunch at lunch, which you could do that. Mm-hmm. And as long as you came back. And she came back late, or she skipped a class. Something happened.
Yeah.
And she got in trouble. And they called her parents. Yeah. And they answered, and they said, she's 18 and she's a married woman. She can do whatever she wants. Like, that's her problem now. Mm-hmm. Which, if you're 18, you can sign yourself out anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know my mom wasn't allowed to cross the stage because she was married, but a pregnant woman did?
What?
My mom couldn't cross the stage because she was married. Because they said it was a bad example. But a girl that was 8 months pregnant. So it wasn't like she was... I'm not making fun of the poor lady.
No.
But she was more than showing.
Yeah.
Waddled across and I'm not making fun of pregnant women.
No.
Waddled across the stage, and my mom wasn't. So my mom told them to keep the diploma and stick it up there. Cool. But they mailed it eventually my mom has it, but yeah. But that's the time, though.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing your generation doesn't understand, is that there's a generation before me, the AKA boomers, that they had tons of rules. Do you know my dad, his senior year in 1970, was the first time people could wear jeans in his school? Mm-hmm. In 1970, they could wear jeans. You had to wear slacks and button-down shirts.
Yep.
But yet we're all like, why are the boomers acting this way? Because that's the way they were brought up. And they're the ones who had Woodstock in 1969. They're the ones who women walked around braless. They're the ones who landed up having the bad acid. They're the free love and, they're the ones who had all the kids, the moonbeams and the, power, flower power. And, we forget that. But yet we're going to judge a mother on this thing about trying to keep her emotions in so she doesn't turn into a panda.
Right.
And now think about it now. Stop and think about it. If this girl could change into a panda, what kind of abuse should she go through? Now you're like, what do you mean abuse? Everyone would love her. Everyone would hug her. Yeah, but they also would test on her. Mm-hmm. They also would do horrible things to her in the government. Oh, they wouldn't do that. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Like, I don't know what you're smoking, but if there's anything odd about somebody that's super, how many people have been tested on that's been gay or has been different, which I never understand, because there's proven fact, because I've been listening to documentaries for almost a year now, that there's been proven fact there's been gay people all the way back to before Christ stuff, I just don't get, for me personally, how this is a bad thing. Because at the end, I love the speech with the father, though. Mm-hmm. When he's like,
when he found the tape?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it was one of those moments where he saw... See, that's the part that broke my heart, too, is that people don't understand is he saw his wife and his daughter. Mm-hmm. And he saw the same pain. Right. And that's what we saw when we went into the Panda Land, or whatever you want to call it, and the mother's crying. Mm-hmm. And it was like the daughter got to see it. And that's why I talk about parents don't tell their kids about our mistakes, but we don't want our kids to make the mistakes.
Right.
Like, I can't tell you how many people I know who've had children, like, young, like, 16, 17, before graduating high school. Mm-hmm. And they protect their children. But they don't tell them, listen, I made a horrible mistake. Shouldn't have done this, but guess what? I am working my way through this, and we're going to get through this. Mm-hmm. And you weren't a mistake. You weren't this. You weren't that. No, we kind of push our children. Like, I used to tell Marion all the time, I got thrown in the garbage on the 5th grade. I spent my time in a urinal or upside down in the garbage or in a locker. Mm-hmm. And right away, she was like, oh. I was like, I was not the coolest person. All I know is how you deal with it. Yeah. It's how you deal with it. And then, I've told plenty of bully stories with the whole Marin telling people off. And that's the way we get through stuff.
And that's what I love that you did, is that you told her, life isn't easy.
It's never easy.
You're gonna face these things, and you know what? You either make or you break. You know.
Wise man once told me when I was 7. He told me lots of things, but one of the big ones is like, now is you're gonna make decisions, and one day you're a genius, and the other day you're gonna be a complete utter idiot. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what does that mean? He's like, some days you make all the right choices, and the next day you make every wrong. And the trick is looking in the mirror. Mm-hmm. The only thing that I added on to that is, and I tell you, I tell Marin, I tell the boss, make it your decision. Don't listen to you can listen to other people, but don't let other people make your decision.
Right.
Because once you make that decision, you have to look in the mirror and deal with someone else's consequence that shouldn't be your consequence, because it's not your decision. So it's like, like I look in the mirror and I say, I got married. No one told me to get married. I got married. No one. I wish someone told me not to get married, but no one said that.
Right.
So whose fault is it at the end of the day?
It's still yours.
It's still my fault. Mm-hmm. So I made the decision. I got big shoulders. I don't let anyone make decisions for me that are big.
I don't think it was a mistake though. I think. So I always think that like things are meant to happen for a reason, and your decision to get married was it led you to where you are now. Yeah, you might not necessarily regret it, but like you're like, no. I shouldn't have done that, you know.
No, it does.
But it makes you stronger.
It does.
It opens your eyes.
But you know what?
You know what? I tried it. It didn't work out,
But as parents, we don't tell our kids enough because we shelter them. Just like I remember there were times there was a point with my kid where we didn't have a lot of money in our pockets. And I would tell her, listen, Dad's not getting anything. You're not getting anything. Like, we don't have it. But as soon as we have something, I know you want this. I got this in mind. Like, we just don't have it.
Yeah.
And I always felt like if you talk to children, and I'm not trying to be parent. Here I am I feel like I'm lecturing about being a parent. I'm not. Trust me. I'm not Father of the Year. Don't please. But I always felt like if I talked to her somewhat as an adult, even though I knew she couldn't always understand, but kind of give the bigger picture. There's there's that little.
Well, you gave the why. You didn't say, oh no, you can't have that.
Right, I gave the whys, and that's the trick that I feel some parents don't. Parents don't lead up to stuff. Like, I love there's a thing going around. I know everyone laughs at. What didn't you know? What did you not know as a kid and you found out as an adult, or something like that? And I always think taxes, how to do taxes, how to budget there was no class in school, which there's still not, which I don't understand how there's not class.
They need to bring back home ec.
Yes.
They need to bring back
I had home ec. I know how to cook, I know how to sew. I know there are
things.
It
needs to be a requirement for everyone.
There's so many things. You know what else I think requirement is wood shop. Because there's so much thing as an adult like I need to fix. I'm lucky if I get the nail into the friggin' wood, without, really. Yeah. The boss
doesn't work that way.
The boss is even agreeing with that one. No, but it's one of those things that we don't prepare our kids to be functioning adults. We make them functioning job. To function at a job or to work, but we don't function them besides that. For example, when I bought my house, I bet you don't know that it's like a freaking book when you buy it. Like, you sign your name 1,000 times, and you know what? Your lawyer's there, and they're like, "Oh, this just does this." You're not reading it,
right?
Because they would basically, you would go home and have like a month of reading it. Right. And for our case, it might be 6 months of us reading it, because every other word. It would take me
6 years just to.
Right. But they don't tell you that
Read the first page.
And of course, my dad and my mom were with me. I was 22. Actually, I was 21 3 days before my birthday, turning 22. And my parents were there, and they were like, that sounds right. That sounds right. And I just went, okay. Not that my parents wanted the house. I wanted the house. It's just, I was so scared. Like, you never heard the expression, when you go to the doctors, you always bring someone, because if they tell you stuff, you're such kind of in shock by whatever they said. You need that other person listening.
I don't go to the doctor, but yes. I know.
And neither do I. But, I just figured I'm
One
shocked.
more fat thing,
I'm just assumed I'm dying. If it's not tomorrow, it's not fast enough.
Honestly.
But it's the same trick. And this is a great movie of a little girl that becomes a woman right before our eyes. And the best part is she leaves with her friends at the end. And the other thing is the mother's hurt because the mother has realized the 4-year-old Mei is now gone. The woman Mei is there.
Yeah.
And that is tough for parents. It's tough to see. You don't see it because you're the kid. But it's hard to see the little person that survived totally on you and that you're their hero and they're happy to see you. And like you see that big smile when you walk through that front door or that weird line when you open the front door from work and like, Dad, I found you. And I was like, okay, I didn't know you were looking for me. Like, were you looking for me all day?
Yeah.
Like I know you're like, oh, that's so cute. But those are the memories that you now lost. And we don't think about the amazing memories we're going to get because as you hit high school, you're not mama's little boy, you're not daddy's little girl. You're on you're making decisions that we have no clue what's happening.
Yeah. And
you're on your own. And there's decisions that you're a genius and then sometimes you're an effing idiot. Yeah. And that's the best part because when she destroys the thing, it's her holding on to her. Like, how could you do this? And it was her saying, enough. I need to be a young woman. And that's the best because when she left with her friends, remind me of all the times I used to leave with my mom, be like, I'm going out with my friends. And then the 4 of us or 5 of us on our bikes would go ride and I'd be back by 6 o'clock that night or what have you.
Yeah.
And it's like, and my mom and my dad had to take those moments and say, he's 12, he's 13, he's 14, he's, like, hopefully we taught him. That's the part that I feel. Enough parents don't feel that we've raised our children enough to make good decisions.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to have that. Yeah, guess what? The kids that are taken. This is what I always say when people say, I can't take him out. I can't let my kid go outside at 11 because you hear there's a stranger danger out there grabbing it. Well, this is what I have to say. When they're 21, are you going to sit there and hold them inside because they're stranger danger? Because at 21, there are people out there at a bar that are sick, that do crazy stuff. And if that's not good enough for you, there has been plenty, and you can Google this, over 60-year-old men and women get abducted in their house by young, sick people who rob, rape, and kill them. So are you going to, at 60, still be there with your kids? This world isn't fair to any of us. The only thing we can do is enjoy the moment now and enjoy the people that we love and give them the freedom to enjoy for whatever time that they have. I want my daughter to live life and see everything I saw and experience everything I did. And hopefully make better choices or make choices and understand there are moments where she go, nope, this is a bad idea. I don't like this. I'm leaving. Because I've made those. I've made those moments where I say, nope. Gone to a convenience store because there was no cell phones at that time and called my parents and say, hey, can you pick me up? And they go, all right, why are you? And I'm like, I didn't feel right. I didn't tell them what happened. It didn't feel right. I didn't want to hang out anymore, and I don't have a ride home, so I had to call you. And my parents never said anything. And then later on in life, they told me, listen, I know someday you're going to drink, but promise us one thing: no matter what you do, how old you get, or what happens, you call us. Don't drive home. I don't care. I will never be mad. And guess what? I had the same attitude, and guess what? I've called my parents at 20. I think 27 or 28, like gone. Parents picked me up, not a word. I've called my parents numerous times especially earlier on in my life.
Yeah.
Never 4 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, nothing. And the part is the best part I love is the mother, the father, even the grandmother and the sisters were so like, yeah, she knows how it is. She's going to keep this panda and she's got this. And the others question the mother at first, but it's at the end, no one questions her mothering skill after that.
Right.
Because she sticks up for her daughter.
Right.
That's the people I think when people are like, oh, this poor mother. I'm like, no, this mother's grown at the end. She understands her daughter has to grow. And you know how I really knew when she grew? Is when her friends came to pick her up at the very end of the movie. And the mother said, all right. And was basically have fun.
Yeah. Because the whole movie she's been trying to like. She was
keep her in that 4-year-old bubble.
Yeah. Like, oh, you're going to your friend's house? Let me come too. Or
right. Or at school. At school. Like,
oh my God, you forgot your
pants! Even though I gotta admit, I think I would do that to my daughter, even if she did it. I'd be like, you forgot your pants!
I said to Kelsey, I'm like, what would you do if your mom did that? And she's like, I don't know. I'm like, I think I would kill myself right then and there.
I think I tell the story about, I don't know if I said this, I probably have, right? Have I told the story about my parents dropping me off at the dance?
You might. I don't remember. You'll have to remind me.
My dad and mom grew up in an era of time that parents weren't cool.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad would tell me all the time, because I would go to middle school dances, and it would always be like my friend and I, or a girl and I, or, it depends what kind of dance it was, right?
Yeah.
But one day, so we're going to my first dance, and I'm going with a friend, not a girlfriend, just a guy friend. And he says, oh, and he pulls over like
I think
like a mile away from the school.
Mm-hmm.
I said, what are you doing? He's like, oh, you guys going to walk, right? I ain't walking. He's like, well, you don't want us to pull up. You're not going to be cool. I'm like, what do they think I did? Walk all the way from the other side of Portsmouth to this school?
Fuck that.
Did I not know who I am?
Right.
Like, I'm lucky if I get to walk to my bed. Like,
I thought it was the coolest thing ever because my parents have a Prowler, like a sports car.
Yeah.
And they would bring me to the dance in one of those. Or like they'll go to like a school event and drop me off from school that day with that. I'm like, yeah, I got a cool car,
Your parent, because there's not enough.
Right, because it was a two-seater.
But for me, my dad's like, well, Niles, you're going to be so uncool. And I'm like, what do you think? And then she's like, well, and then he did it with my date one time. And he's like, Niles, you have a date. And I'm like, what do you think? I put her on my freaking, I said this, on my bike. Did I put her in my basket and ride all the way here?
Right.
You dropped me off. What's stupid? Drop me off at the door. Like, She's in high heels. I'm in nice shoes. Who wants to walk a mile?
Right.
She's like, well, that's how it was when I was a kid. You're going to look geeky. I'm like, I don't care. Right. My parents were always way cooler than me. I was so practical.
Yeah.
I am like the most practical person. Like, since the day I was born, it was like, no, I'm not doing this. This is, but it's a different time. And my dad and mom wanted me to be, and they would say to me, why are you so not cool? Like, your dad wasn't this uncool. Like, your dad played in the band. Your dad was so cool. Your mom was this. Your mom was that. And I'm always like, no, you dropped me out the front door. And they're like, oh, well, we won't take the van. I'm like, I don't care. As long as we get to A and B, it could be a shit box. Like, I don't care. It could be cardboard. The Flintstones. But nowadays, guys, I'd be like, let's run.
Honestly.
I know. Downhill both ways.
Gas soon, and I'm like, oh, I really don't want to.
What are you talking about? I've literally opened my door and just kick for a while and then put a neutral, just keep kicking. But I don't. So for me as a parent, or me as the mother and the father was, if you really watch it, because now you're going to watch it again. I know you're going to watch it again. He basically says, you and your mom are two peas in the same pod.
Yeah.
You just don't see it.
Yeah.
Because we don't show our kids. Because we're too afraid that if they see it, the world will blow up. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I never understood it. I used to say this to my daughter. There were mistakes that I made, mistakes that her mom would make, and I would say, all right, you don't want to do stuff like this. This is wrong. We didn't handle this right. We should have been like this. Yeah. We should have been like that. Most of the stuff was me. But for me, that was the movie. This is a growing movie. This is if I had to associate this movie with something, it reminded me of those movie Goonies when the kids go off and they become adults because they go on a grand adventure where this little girl lands up becoming an adult by the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Not, how about this? A young adult.
Yeah.
Because if we understand the boundaries. That's the trick. Because sometimes parents put our kids in front of TVs, like Marin didn't have a computer. Remember, she didn't have anything for the longest time until she was in 6th or 7th grade was the first time she even got a tablet.
Yeah.
And it was just like, well, why are you doing that? I'm like, because I want her to be independent.
Yeah.
I know she's going to live on this someday, but I don't want her to live on it now.
Right.
And, that's the trick that we're not teaching sometimes. Life, best person to teach you about life. We don't tell our kids how it is. I don't know your generation. I'm not gonna put this on, but my generation was get married, buy a house, have 1 point whatever kids. You know what I'm saying? Like 1.5 kids.
Your generation was go to college.
Get married,
buy a house.
Right. My parents' generation was was a little bit different. Graduate high school, work 40 years at a job, get a good living, get married. There was no divorce. There was none of that when my parents, they were getting divorced, but
you don't hear about
it like you do now. Now
right.
it's
or
like
scandals.
Now it's always like, oh yeah, like
so-and-so's getting divorced,
the other thing that really kind of surprises me is that everyone wanted to make the panda a bad thing, but the panda's like being like the fat person in the room. Once you embrace that you're the fat person in the room and everyone loves you, are you really fat anymore? Well, it's only fat because we keep watching some stupid TikTok with some girl or some man who's super buff or half naked or in a bikini, and they do a little dance and you go, oh, I want to look just like them because everyone will love me and watch me. But yet we're all not like them. They're actually a smaller group of people than the rest of us. But yet if us fat people would, I'm one of them, I look like I'm 9 months pregnant, say, hey, you know what? I don't need that. I don't need that.
I wouldn't. I would say it's like whatever label that you want that you.
I know. Fat was kind of...
It's your most self-conscious trait about you.
What is mine?
No.
Oh.
The panda is your.
Right. Whatever it is. I have a big nose. I have a big ears. I have big whatever. That's why I don't get. I would tell Marin all the time. And she'd be like, oh, well, this girl, she fits in this. And I'm like, yeah? One of the great comments, a little boy came up to her and says, boy, you're fat. And she says, yeah, my dad's fat too. So what's your point? Like, what's your point? What are you going to do? Right. My dad found someone that loves him and he's fat. Like, It's what we make of it. And instead of telling our kids, like, and it does. Well, here's a great thing. Everyone calls you fat. What do you say? Those aren't kids you want to hang around. You want to hang around with a new group of kids. I'll tell you right now, if those 3 girls were my daughter's best friends, I'd be embracing those girls. Like I'd be in there at whatever it's Four Town. I'd be there with a foam finger too because those girls were amazing to my daughter, and I would embrace that. Compared to the bullies that she had to deal with for a little while. She had a good group of friends, which her mother was too obsessed with keeping everything the way it is. And I get it, because she's from that culture. And that's the other thing. It's her culture. Yeah. That's the way she was brought up. How do you fight that? How do you fight that? You don't want to fight. Well, she shouldn't have a label. That was the other thing. Why does she have a label on her? Why does she have to go and work for her family?
Yeah.
Why does she have to go get straight A's? Why does she have to? Well, first of all, the straight A's is because as a parent, some of us, like me, which I told my kid on a constant that I didn't get good grades. And in this world nowadays, if she really wants to make it, graduating high school isn't good enough anymore. Mm-hmm. That she has to go to college. And I tell her all the time, I don't know how you're going to get to college, so you better really work your butt off, but it's not going to be an easy ride. Mm-hmm. And I didn't sugarcoat it. I always say that's the way it is. I also said she needs trade. I always told her she should be a plumber or something or electrician or be something like that, because somehow those never go out of whack and you get good money. Right. And she'd be like, yeah, well, I don't know if I'm like, if you want to go where the money is, I've never heard of a poor electrician.
Right. I was about to say I disagree with you with the whole college thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't think certain jobs, they still require it.
Right.
But I do think that, so I was actually talking to Kelsey's sister about this the other day. We were saying how, she's 10 years or 11 years older than me, whatever. Right. So her generation was like, you have to go to college, you have to go to college, you have to go to college, work for the government, government. This is the best thing to do.
Yeah.
Now it's do a trade or work for corporate, because corporate's actually even better than government right now.
Right. I know a lot of people in my day, it was a big into government. People try to get a government job.
Right, and corporate was bad.
Corporate's because they would gyp you, and you could only have for so long, and then they would force you to retire. Yeah. Where in the government, they used to retire with a pension or something in that manner. Now, because of the crash in 2008, a lot of people got their pensions taken away. They're not as big as they used to be. They're not. Mm-hmm. It's times change, I always say. The only thing I'm going to say is, I know Brian was on here. I don't remember if this was one of them, but Brian had said that his generation was going to be taken over soon and going to jump right over mine. Mm-hmm. And I kind of sat back and I went, okay, because I thought I was going to do the same thing when it was my generation, and I still haven't jumped over the baby boomers yet. So, but the only thing I'm going to say is that we all think the world is going to change, and it will. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't happen overnight. Yeah. And that's the one thing that, if I could stress any YouTubers, Facebook people out here, is that the world is changing. It will get better. It just doesn't get better that fast. Mm-hmm. Because what happens is that generation has to go who thought one way. I'm just going to use, so we're going to use baby boomers. Baby boomers were brought up in a particular way. Do you understand the baby boomers are the first generation that in 1965 things changed in this world? Do you understand 1965 things changed in this world? Racist, all those things changed in this world. No more those stupid crow laws. Everything changed. Everything became finally equal. Well, that's that generation. So that generation's kind of caught in the half and half because their parents were still alive and they were backwards. Yeah. They were their heads up their butts. But we're also talking about the generation who also fought World War II. Yeah. So it's one of those, thank you, but you live in an old way. My parents come up. They say we want change. That's what the flower power and equal rights and, even, I say equal rights, even more equal rights. They are now in charge, and they're heading out, if you will, because they're all in their 70s and late 60s and 80s. Mm-hmm. Now it's my generation, which we were brought up not knowing any, hell, I remember the big fashion, all of us dressed up and had all the hip hop stuff, and we all kind of the kid in plays, and rap was new, and we all embraced it. Do you understand? We embraced a rap, we were all thought that was cool. I can't name any of them, but and then now your generation, and you don't believe in you're even pushing more stuff. But the problem is? Boomers have to die. We have to die. My generation has to die. Your generation has to be on top, the oldest. But that means there's 2 to 3 generations below you who already don't even... 1960 is miles away. Mm-hmm. 1960 will be 1800s.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It'll be nothing.
The 90s will be like...
Yeah, the 90s will be a joke. Like,
right.
the 90s will be like talking about the 1920s.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, or 30s or 40s to me. You know, like, I was born in 76.
Yeah.
So I wasn't even close to the 40s or the 50s. But my dad knows all about the 50s because he was born in the 50s. So they still have that connection. But once these people go, it will all work because this generation, and I know people are like, well, people are still handing them down. Yeah, but each generation loses 10 more people.
Yeah.
It's more than 10, but you lose 10 more people. And then by the time your generation is my age, the 5-6-year-olds that are born will never even know about those things.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen fast enough. And the problem is that we want the world to change so fast, and it can't change that fast. It should change that fast. I wanted to change that fast because there are a lot of things that are unfair. But the question is, and I will always say this till the day I die, is it fair or is it unfair to the people that were... Is it fair all the way around? Because that should be the goal, is that everyone is completely 100% equal. Men, women, blacks, white, Chinese, everybody.
We're just people.
We're just people. We're human beings. We're just humans. Doesn't matter if you're gay, you're straight, you're human. You get to vote, I get to vote. You get 2 votes, I get 2 votes. Why? If I said she hit me, you go to jail. If you say you hit me, like, you see what I'm saying? It can't be, I'm a woman, you can't hit me, and then say, I want to be equal, because you're already not equal.
Yeah.
Because if I look at you as an inferior sex, that I can't do that, even though no man should ever hit women. No. Even though I've seen women beat the hell out of men.
Women shouldn't hit men either. Nobody should be hitting.
But
keep your hands to yourself.
That's the stereotype, though.
I know it is.
Because as soon as a woman hits a man and you report that, you go, really? She hit you? You couldn't take it? Right. Funny, I hit her. I just smacked her and I'm in trouble. I didn't, I just smacked her.
Yeah.
Unappropriate. We're going to need to get to a point where equal is equal. But that is not something that happens overnight because people don't want to gain power. They want to gain power without losing power.
Yeah.
And that's the trick that I feel this world needs to be. And that's just what's happening in this story, is that this little girl at 13 is fighting for power the same way her mother is, the opposite way, to bring it all back. And it's so funny because it's a bigger picture, but it's really all pushed down. And we, as human beings, are constantly fighting over this. You know how many parents I know? Oh, I don't want you to grow up. I have pictures of my son at blah, blah, blah. I can't believe he grew up. I wish I could go back in time and freeze that time. And, what would I do?
Well, I always tell my niece, I'm like, can we just put you in a box so that way you can't grow anymore?
Right.
Right. You just want them to stay little.
Right.
But, they do have to grow up.
They do.
We all grow up.
Yeah, we all do.
Fucking sucks.
As I like to say, I hate adulting. I have a friend that I've known for a long time, and her and I always talk, and it's always like, there's always one point in the day I feel like one of us are always writing, I hate adulting. Like I'm done. Like, I hate paying bills. I hate. Yeah. That's the other thing.
From my birthday one year, I was like, or somebody would ask me what I want. I'm like, I'm done adulting. That's what I want. She's like, okay, well, for the day. I'm like, no.
No,
done.
Did you know? Do you remember being in school when you thought like, oh, I'm going to go work at wherever, like.
I always wanted to do what my mom wanted.
Like whatever, like high school. Like, oh, if I went to, if I go to McDonald's, how much you make at McDonald's? You make $200 for a 60-hour week at the time, like my day, right? And you go, $200. Oh my God,
that's
you know
so
what?
Much money.
So it'd be $200 for a week. So that's 2, 4, 6. That's $800 a month. Oh my gosh, I could retire. Like, you think to yourself. Did you ever get to that moment when you like literally put down your bills and then you said to yourself, $200 didn't do crap. I need more than two. Like what am I doing here?
Well, here's the thing.
Or whatever.
I always had a weird situation with money because I'm not going to say we didn't have money. We had some money, you know.
Right.
But I always had like grew up with like I don't let my bank account still like to this day get below a certain point.
Right.
Because then I mentally cannot handle it. I'm like, okay, now I can't buy anything.
Right.
Even though like I have the money.
Right.
It's just like I can't. So like I always had that. Like I've always had money in my wallet.
Right.
Because you never know what's gonna happen.
No, I totally get that.
And so like I can agree with you with the whole like $200 was a lot at a certain point in my age. But then.
But did you ever get to that? Like, I'm talking about being in school. Like, oh yeah, and then as soon as that first year you become an adult, like I always feel like, you know when that is? When everyone goes back to school and you don't. You know what I'm talking about? It's like that one, and you're like, oh, I gotta go to like serious work now. Like the summer was great because you like most people will be like, okay, you have your senior summer, if you will.
I was working before I graduated.
No, but you're still kind of still having fun, if you will. Like you're not, the adult swing hasn't hit you yet.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the adult swing hits you when everyone goes back to school and you're like, oh, like I'm really gonna work 24/7. Like you were working.
You know when it hit me?
When?
Well,
she's like yesterday.
For one, when kids went back to school and I didn't, I'm like, oh, this is weird. Like,
right.
I should be in school right now. I should be eating lunch at this time.
Right.
Class starts in like 5 minutes. Gotta get there, you know. But then also when I quit my grocery store job, I was like, this is because I started my actual. Well, I was working my career now.
Yeah.
But it was like my actual profession.
And all of a sudden, the bills seem a little bit different now?
Yeah.
Like the bills became like, I don't want to say legit because they were legit before.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden they become like, oh crap! Like mom's not giving me any money. Like this is it. This is me. If I don't pay all these bills, it's like, I don't know. Like it hit me that way. Like I was working. For me, I graduated high school. I started working that summer, and I was fine because I kind of lived up that summer, even though I was still working.
Yeah.
And then the winter came, and it was like, oh, wait a minute here. Like, this fun play work is, like, I got to do it tomorrow still, and I got to do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to buy a new car at the time, and it became like, oh, and I was like, oh, it's just a car. And then I was like, holy crap, I have to pay for all these bills and a car?
Mm-hmm. And then you have to pay for the car.
Insurance. And then I had to pay for this.
Maintenance.
And then I had to pay for it to get in, because I had gotten a new car, so I had to get the license plate. Like, you had to go pay for that. You had to pay for this. You had to pay for, I'm just like, I'm like, what? That's like the same as a house. Like all of a sudden you're signing your life away, and it just seems such a bigger picture. Yeah. And then it's just like, wow, this is legit. And then it just becomes like, oh, well, I need a car to go to work. And if I don't have a car, I can't go to work. And I don't work, I can't have the car. And I can't do this, and I can't do that. So it almost becomes like, that's what I feel like. I feel like the more things grown up you buy, the more it makes you have to work more. Yeah. It becomes like a tumbleweed where it's like, oh, I have to wake up and go to work today. Why? Because I have a car payment.
Because somebody fucking made it up and now we have to do it.
And I know I have to now pay for a car. I have to pay for the insurance. I have to pay for the mortgage. Because if you miss a week or miss a day of a mortgage, no one gives. That's the other thing. That also gave me the smack of reality. Is the first day, the first time I had injured myself really bad. And the doctor's like, well, you have to take off a week. And I was like, a week? Like, my budget's just getting by. Like, and they go, you got to get off your foot for a week. I'm like, all right, the toe can fall off. Because I had hurt my toe. I was like, toe can fall off because I can't afford it. I can't afford a week. Yeah. And I literally went to work. I worked 3 jobs that summer with, like,
a broken toe.
Yeah, I pounded a stake through my toe.
Oh my god!
Not a wooden stake. It was like one of those metal bars that you like. I was pounding stakes into the ground for two-handed pounding. The slip.
I don't need to know how you pounded your meat.
It was tender. into the ground, and it was bent, and it got stuck into the thing, and it took it out of the ground, and then right into my toe, and I had to drill holes into my toe to drain it. It was bad.
Do you have scars on your toe?
Well, I have a messed up toenail really bad because it had fallen out, and it's weird. I actually have to cut most of it off, not to be gross, but because it is gross. I get like, even I'm like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Of course, being fat doesn't help either. I can't breathe for 20 minutes. It's like, okay, I got to do my nails. And
you're like, if I put it on this wall.
You think I'm like Van Damme? Like, I'm not Gumby, damn it. So that's when the reality hit me. When I couldn't take off time.
Yeah.
That's when I realized I was official adult. Like there was no, you can take some sick time for yourself. Mm-hmm. Then it made me regret going to school all the time. It was like, I should have took that week off.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. I love this movie. I would watch it again. I cried twice because I cried at the end because I really felt they melt. And I love how the grandmother nods like, this is it.
Oh, I have a fact for you.
Okay.
You know how when she was scared, she'd always put her hands up?
Yes.
Red pandas actually do that when they're scared.
Wow, that's awesome.
So they added that in there. A little tidbit for you.
That is awesome. But I would tell you to definitely watch this movie, even though hopefully you've watched it already, and if you haven't watched it, give it a chance.
Yeah.
I think I'd be interested in how you guys all think. If you guys want to write underneath the YouTube comments and tell us how you felt about the movie. I loved it.
What was your take on it too?
What do you mean take? You mean, like,
what did you get out of it?
What I got out of it?
No, them. I know what you got out of it.
Well, I didn't know if you were talking to me on them. No, yeah. See if you agree with us or if you disagree. If you want to disagree with us, I'm fine with that. Yeah. Probably.
I want to hear all sides.
Yeah, because sometimes,
everyone has their own
it's my opinion. Doesn't mean I always like that. Like, I always figure everything in the world is a cube. Mm-hmm. And I can only see one side or I see two sides. I'm never afraid someone turning the cube around and I might not agree with it, but I still like to see the other side. Yeah. Yeah. So I like to thank the Goofy Geek Boutique for being our sponsor. Can I take a sip?
I'm surprised they didn't take us away from last week.
Yeah. I'm sure they do. They're blocking us out right now. We're live on the Goofy Geek at 7 o'clock on Thursdays. If you ever want to join us, most people don't. Nope. And if you want to listen to us on YouTube, we're on Tuesdays.
Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, hit that bell.
And we appreciate Gary making the 30 accounts and watching it for us.
Yes, thank you. Thanks,
Dad. If you like this one, please make sure you give us the like and make sure you go back to some of the other ones. Yeah. If you want to listen to
and some more ideas.
Yeah, if you guys want us to do something over again or talk about something different or suggestions is more than welcome. All right, Goofy Geekers, we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.